Hey guys, how you doing this morning? It is Thursday, June 9th, and just going to get rolling here on the New York session quick, chat about a couple of levels. I'm not going to stick around too long today. It's been a very interesting week. We've had a nice decline on the US dollar here, basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I would assume that they're probably going to continue down and hit this major area right in here. Basically, these old highs in here from the small consolidation range would be the first target, and that comes in at 93, big figure pretty much. So I'd be looking for a push down. So far they have not, give me this, they haven't, well, you know what, here, let me just do this before I do that. This low here comes in at 93.18. This low here, they might have got it by about a pip, 93.17. They got about, yeah, 1 pip they ran that low by, and then they tried to reject. As you can see here, they came in, ran it, and then popped up back down to this area here, and then rejected again. So I'm looking for further continuation going into New York here. In terms of news events and all of that fun stuff, we've got on the horizon not a whole lot. It's a pretty slow day news event wise. So we just had some unemployment claims at 8:30 a.m. Which was a medium impact event and not going to do a whole lot of anything, and that's probably why we just kind of saw this little blip run up to it and then finally jammed back down. So I don't necessarily think that news event is going to really do anything to run the markets real hard today. Canadian dollar, I'll bring that back in here for a second. Canadian dollar has some pretty big news coming up here at in about 3.5 hours or so. 2.5 hours, sorry, and I can't do math this morning, and we could see some movement on that, and I'll go into that one in a minute because it has been consolidating pretty much since yesterday, so might be some interesting levels there, and then some more major news coming out for the CAD tomorrow, and it's interesting, this whole today and tomorrow pretty much void of news, any major news really going on, so just keep in mind though, this right here guys, next Wednesday of next week, some big news, some big economic drivers for the US dollar happening. I would, if you're going to be trading next week, I would be done Monday, Tuesday. Do not trade into Wednesday because we could see some pretty big movements happening, and you could get whipsawed, so just keep that in mind. And then Thursday and Friday, kind of back to regular news events. Actually, we should maybe mention that the yen has some fairly large news coming out as well too. So if you're a yen trader next Thursday, then you may want to just kind of wait on the sidelines until that happens as well too. But just kind of give you an idea, heads up of what's to come here. That's sort of what the market's doing, and I wasn't too surprised. I was actually, honestly, what I was looking for this earlier in the week. Price finally fell out of bed here late into Wednesday's trading, late into Wednesday around New York. It finally dropped and then started to continue lower there. I was kind of interested to more so see this thing consolidate and go sideways until next week. Didn't quite do that. Started to early in the week and then dropped off. But like I say, I'd be looking for these levels in here to get tagged. See these equal lows right here, right there, and those come in at, if I can grab that. Now the price tag isn't coming up. Yeah, the low is 92.99 on my broker anyway. And so that would be the run I'd be expecting right down there. And more than likely, if they're going to run that, they may just wick down, and just depending on when they want to do it, I would venture to say that they could easily attain that today. All they'd need to do is drop this thing down about another 24 pips, which I think would easily be attainable on today. They could save it for Friday, but I believe that's going to be the goal. Come down there, soak up some of that liquidity, take over some of those longs, recapitalize, and then potentially run higher. Now, here's the thing, if this level in here that I have marked off, basically right here, if price comes back down here and the next week we have all those FOMC news events and everything running, and we spike back up, but it fails to get above there, it's going to make this 95 level here, I think, a little bit less of a probability. But you know, just kind of keep that in mind. Doing a quick fib down here, you know, it's definitely some areas of confluence under price here where we could see it run. Typically what they'll end up doing is they'll run stops by about 10 to 20 pips. So let's say they do a 20 pip stop run. Where would that get us? Just right under that line right there. That would get us down to about just halfway in between the 72 and 79% retracement level. So a pretty major level right there. So that's kind of what I would expect to see happen. And again, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. They may save the actual push down for tomorrow, but I would venture to say that would probably where their goal is heading. So if that's the case, then I would be looking for a little bit of a bounce. I wouldn't necessarily want to see a continuation, but so far a very, very nice sell-off to be expected. And now we'll see if they want to run back up and gun for these highs here. So, and if price breaks through this area, this consolidation area in here, then we'll be looking for lower prices, and maybe they may want to just trade it all the way back down here if that is the case. If this doesn't offer any support in any way, shape, or form, then we'll probably look for price to rebalance back down in this area down here. So just keeping that one in mind. Yeah, I just had somebody send me a note saying that price has been a little weird for intraday price action. I would actually tend to kind of agree with that. You know, you look at Euro, it consolidated Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you'd think here this Tuesday, like this looks like a profile of a market reversal right here. Tuesday high sitting in, and they traded lower, took the lows out of the week. You know, in here, and usually when they trade higher, usually when they open up Monday, they say for instance they trade higher like it's doing right now. They'd come in, they set the low for Monday, come up. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Let's say they were going to trade this thing lower, and this is what I was expecting, to be honest with you, on the week. They open price up here. That's Monday's open candle right here. They come down. They quickly bring price back down. And then jam it up, and just coming up, scooping some highs in here, and then rejecting, and then the next day coming down, and then we close lower than the Monday open. I would be expecting that this would be the high of the week, and then they would just continue to trade this thing down. And we've had a couple of places down below prices here, equal lows down here, and everything else, dog tag, to get hit. And then this coming back in here on Wednesday for the reversal, it kind of caught me off guard, and I was a little surprised by it. I didn't think this was going to happen, and then they've ran it ever since. Sorry, I've gotten my days wrong here, guys. I'm one day behind. This was Friday's close. Sorry, guys, this was Friday's close here. I'm getting my days mixed up here. This was Monday's open. Monday they ran it up. Tuesday they jammed it down. And then basically, did it get the low? Yeah, Tuesday got the low by just a couple of pips here. So it did, I'll be honest with you, they ran it up and then ran it down and ran it back up again. And Monday and Tuesday definitely started out pretty interesting days. And even Wednesday's price action in here, you know, I wasn't really loving it too much, to be honest with you. But Thursday so far, it's been a runner, and they're running. So anyway, at kind of the same type of levels, U.S. dollar that I'd be looking at down here, and I lost that dog tag here. Let me just, for that price tag here, looking for 93 big figure basically. Come on, give that to me. That's the price I'm looking for to get tagged. same thing on the euro. We'd be looking for a very similar spot right in here, this 1850 level, that I think would easily get run out. So I'll just borrow this guy here and run that up, and that's just basically the lows of those consolidating areas there. And I would expect some sort of resistance in this area here to happen, but this is already there. So we could go a little bit higher than this. So to be honest with you, yeah, like I say, we're pretty much there already. But this 1900 level, that could offer a little bit of resistance up in here. So we're about 50 pips away from that, so we could see that push up. I wouldn't be... What are we at right now? 1835. So we're about 65 pips away from that now. So we'll see. They've come back down. They're rebalancing down here, and so far the trade and I'll come to the pound dollar here in a second, because this has been ugly all week, and this is the pair that I typically will trade them. I'm just going to clean this chart up here a little bit. This is the pair that I typically trade, and I mean, you can see the price action on the week on the pound dollar. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday today. Just very, very ugly price action. And I'm not too sure what this would attest for. I'm actually going to open up a different news feed here. Give me 1 second, guys, because I just want to see. Sometimes Forex Factory doesn't always like to give you all the news events that happen on a day. So I'm just going to pull up a second news event calendar here and just see. That happened an hour ago. Really nothing. It's interesting too. There is some major news for the euro that came out that isn't part of Forex Factory. That's a little interesting. So I'll bring this up here. You can see 2 major news events for the euro, and this calendar, I believe, is 5 GMT. So this is not New York time, but you can see here 2 major news events, and that didn't appear on the calendar for Forex Factory today. I just kind of thought that was interesting, but anyway, it still doesn't really explain the reversal on crude oil that we're looking at here today. So, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, but I just kind of want to finish off with the euro. If euro's consolidating a little bit, it's been just going sideways while they're manipulating the pound dollar. So if they ever do release this thing, I would assume that where were those levels here that I'm looking at? I would assume that these areas up in here, and that basically just brings us, see this where they came in, consolidated price, ran it up, then jammed it back down, almost a bit of a head and shoulders pattern in here. That would be the target on the upside that I'd be looking for them to run price through. So let me just borrow this guy here. I'm going to bring that up basically just to the lows in here would kind of be somewhere I would think that they would probably want to finish the day. And that's it, right? That's if we get that further extension down on the US dollar. That's where they could be running price to. So right about in here, 1900, 1910, somewhere in around that area is kind of where I'd be looking for them to finish price off for the day. If we see continuation on the US dollar down here. So we'll see if that wants to pan out for the day. There's definitely some room left in this to move, and yeah, right about up there. So we'll see if that wants to play out. I would expect if this thing is going to start running, it's going to start doing it here fairly soon. And there are, however, if you look at this, there are some equal lows down here, right in around here. Whoops. Relatively equal lows. I don't know if it's snap up to that one there. No, it looks like they ran it a little bit by a pip or so down here, but they may want to rebalance under here. If they do, I'd be looking for a very quick reversal. So just keep that in mind. They more than likely, I don't think they're going to come down here, but more than likely they're probably just going to end up pushing it up straight up from here. But they could come down a little bit, but we'll see. I would suggest that if you did a long in the euro right now, I would certainly suggest that you know, you use that as a stop. So if price comes down, I'd be looking for a quick rejection higher, and I would say, you know, this area down here maybe get retested. Again, I doubt it. They're probably going to run it, but I would say any lower than here, you'd put your stop down here, and you know, just in case they decide to do something like this today, where they, you know, took everybody offside. So, and like I say, interesting today, looking at this. So Monday started out, traded higher, came lower, set the low of the week on Monday. Tuesday ripped up. Wednesday was nothing, just consolidated, and that's when they ran the this guy here. Let me just they were running the euro yesterday, as you can see here, and the pound pretty much just consolidated, and it closed a little bit higher than what it opened, but only because price gapped down on this feed here. But it pretty much was a doji on the daily, and then smashed it up today, and then just look at this rejection in here. And so what they did, let's grab this line here. I'll put it on today's high right in there. You can see here how they ran back into this daily candle in here and had rejected. So that obviously offered a little bit of support, resistance. And I don't know. I mean, on the upside, that could be it. They may want to come a little bit higher on the upside, maybe to the opening of this candle here. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here so I can get that a little bit better. Right in around there. So there could be some continued area, if I drop back down to here, that they may want to just run through and poke up and jam through there. But very interesting reversal, very interesting market profile on the pound dollar this week. I was looking for a reversal here on Tuesday, and I got trapped in this little area in here, and I was looking for lower prices because I thought we were going to see a continuation higher on the dollar, etc., etc., etc. I talked about that on Tuesday's trading, no, Wednesday's trading there. I came on for a live session, so I explained my thoughts on that. But so far, not very nice price action in here to trade. And then if you were long on this run up, you would have been right until they just came in and swept out the stops under the market. They ran these two equal lows in here, and prices building up in here, came down, grabbed those, and now they're who knows what they're going to do. So I'm going to stay away from the pound today. Don't really like the trading on that one. I'd say if anything, the euro would probably be the one that they'll start to eventually run here. And it'd be great if it gave us this, if it came down and swept the lows under here and then rejected right off of these the highs. That would be a very nice trade. Doubt we'll get that. It's you know, if it was going to do that, I would think that would probably already be doing that. But you can see price, and you look down in here and you can see price. It's leaving a lot of areas under the market where people are able to you know, get long on areas and put their stops in. They had one little stop run down here, which scooped some lows in here, but they've basically left a lot of liquidity on the table on this run up here, which kind of leads me to believe that this could be a bit of a suspect rally higher. And again, I'll do a fib off of this guy here, and you can see again that 1900 level comes up to that 79% retracement level, which could be a very, very key level of resistance, and then I would expect them to roll that over if the US dollar does indeed want to take those 95. So keep that in mind. I might even be tempted, if we do see price to push down here a little bit, I might even be tempted to look at getting into a bit of a long here. But we'll have to see. Wouldn't want to really buy it from there, but we'll see what happens there. And I'm not going to be on forever today. I'm going to probably wrap this up here in about 10-15. I just want to run through some quick levels here with you guys. Euro GBP is finally broken out of this mess in here. And you can see this could be what had attributed for that run on the cable. You can see here push higher on Euro GBP equals a push lower on the pound dollar. So far they've come all the way back down to this old high right here, the top of that candle, and basically the old highs in here, and rejected. So we could see further continuation higher on this guy. And I had kind of expected this thing, to be honest with you, to run higher, back up into here, because there's a lot of areas above the market here that, again, they did not come back up to get. You can see in here, they haven't come and run one. The only stop run they did was right in here, one brief one. There's still liquidity above all of these levels here, and especially above here. So I'm thinking higher on Euro GBP is where they may want to target, and that could run and equate to another run down on the pound dollar. I was talking about these lows in here getting tagged out for a little while, right back down in there. So that could still be on the menu going into next week again with that FOMC. So we'll see if they want to do that. And that could be a possibility that we'll be looking for, a scenario that could set up. It's so far a nice rejection off of those levels. But again, I'm going to stay away from the pound today. Don't really like what it's been doing all week long. And you can see price has run back up, and now she's fallen back off again. I would hope that this candle would offer a little bit of support in here. If they are going to run this thing higher, maybe take out these highs here. That could offer some support. If this doesn't, then we're going to keep trading lower, and nothing's going to be supported on this except those lower prices that I just identified if the Euro GBP keeps pushing up. So, and then the pound, the US CAD, like I was saying, they're going to consolidate this thing. News coming out in at 11:08. No, I'm sorry. News coming out. Sorry. Bank of Canada Governor Poles is speaking at 11:15 New York time. So happening here in the next hour, couple hours or so. And I would expect them probably to run this a little bit, but more so major news happening tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. New York time. So I might be looking for a trade on the CAD tomorrow. And if the U.S. dollar is going to continue to push down, and maybe we don't see this until Friday, then maybe we'll see CAD start to a bit of a mess in here as well too. Same type of thing, like not beautiful price action. They've come in, and I'll just go down to the weekly here so you can see it a little bit better. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So Monday started out trading softer. Tuesday came in, ran the highs up here, rejected, and then a beautiful trade off down all the way down here. I actually put a signal out for 129.60. As price ran into here, I was looking forward to trade up just a little bit, and it just missed my entry, my short entry by 3 pips, I believe it was. Sorry, 5 pips. And then price rolled over for a nice move down for about 70 pips lower. Sorry, 100 pips lower. So I missed that trade, unfortunately, yesterday, but they traded all the way back up to that 92.60 level, and so far that's been holding price back. So again, if we do see a nice drop on the US dollar, we could see a quick drop back down on this pair. But I'm kind of, I don't know. This pair is look at this price. This isn't pretty, right? That's pretty ugly, is what that is. And I think these highs in here could get tagged out, but you know, and only because we've seen a nice bull run on this market so far. We could see price wanting to run higher. I'm looking up into this area here at 13200 to be the target, and but just very hard to key off any real level in here. Like, they just keep whipsawing this market in here. So not super excited about the CAD. You know, like I say, this trade here was pretty obvious. They didn't pull back as deep as what I would have liked them to, unfortunately. But you can see what happened, and you know, this market can be predictable, obviously, and that was a very predictable move. But you got to be pretty nimble, because I mean, look at it overall. I mean, look at this, like the consolidation here, just chopping sideways, very ugly price action, very ugly price action here. Ran the stops out of nowhere on Tuesday, and then right back down Wednesday, and now we're right back in the middle of the range. Like if I were to take a fib level, you know, basically from the highs to the lows, look at that, we're literally right at the 50% level right now. So not a whole bunch to talk about there. So I think we'll see some major movement on this on Friday. And I'd like to see them swing lower. I would. I'd like to see them scoop up some of this area here, and even these lows in here. This would be a great area. They did the stop run here and then ran it higher. But you know, they could want to come back down lower and grab some more liquidity under there. There is some areas down here in this blue area that I've got shaded down here. I'll just maybe tighten that up a little bit. If I can. Grab this level in here. So there could be some levels in here that we could watch for them to tag off in. And that would basically just sweep under these lows here a little bit. But so far, I'm not going to be doing anything with the US CAD today. I mean, that just kind of goes without saying. It's not a whole lot to look at. It's pretty ugly. And they're probably going to chop it sideways for at least the next couple hours until Governor Powell speaks. And if that doesn't do it, then it'll be Friday's trading at New York Open that will do it. That'll jostle this thing loose. So far, Euro's not doing anything. Crude oil is, sorry, that's my AC unit kicking in. Crude oil is, what the hell is crude oil doing? Sitting sideways, doing nothing. It's been the past 1, 2, 3, 4 days, all week long, basically. They started out strong on Monday, and I thought we were going to see a continuation down, and only for them to basically do absolutely nothing. So, not much there on crude oil. And this is what I had predicted. I said that there's some major decisions coming out on crude oil in the next 2 weeks. And more than likely, price is going to sit sideways, and that's looks so far what they're doing. So nothing to talk about crude oil, and I'm only bringing it up because it affects the Canadian dollar, but not this drastically. The Canadian dollar's really been consolidating for the past 2 weeks, doing absolutely nothing. So Australian dollar, not too much. Put out a signal on this earlier today. And going into London Open, hasn't done anything yet, so we'll see what price wants to do here. If we get that run lower on the US dollar, this should lend for strength in the Aussie, and I'd like to see them make a run up into this area in here. So I'll just grab a price. So 77.50 would be kind of an area. 77.40 to 77.50 would be an area that I'd be looking for them to run. So far they're not doing anything though. They're just sitting there chopping sideways, chopping wood. They may want to come down, sweep these lows briefly here, kind of down to the 76.35 level, so just keep that in mind. That could be on the target, on the menu for a quick run down. I would hope they would pretty much stop it right about there. I don't want to see them come down any lower than 76.35. So just kind of keep that one in mind. It could be just a quick run down. So we'll wait and see what happens there. And that's about it, guys. Copper's really shooting off. That's a very, very bullish price movement there. Copper has not seen activity like that for a very, very long time, and to be honest with you, I haven't been looking at copper. I haven't looked at the news. There could be some economic drivers behind that, so I'll have to do a little bit of research on that one for you guys. I've been super busy this week, and my goal was to sit down and do some more analysis on some additional commodities and see, because we're coming into a new quarter here, and I wanted to get a handle on sort of where we were going to go for the next 3 months. Haven't done that yet. That is my plan. So once I do that, then I will update, give you kind of some better updates here on some of these pairs. Cocoa's fallen off. Coffee, I think, is going to shoot higher up here. It's probably going to rebalance a little bit lower though first. Cotton saw some nice expansion off of this old high in here. Orange juice trading softer off of the scoop in the old highs. I would assume this is probably going to continue to fall off here, and that this area in here, pretty much at current levels, will continue to offer further resistance, and I would imagine we're probably going to see this fall off, and I would probably be targeting areas back down in here. That would be my target, probably right in and around there would be where I'd be looking. Sugar has sold off again. Now I'm looking for sugar to come back down and rebalance a little bit lower. So far so good. Actually put in a very big down day this morning so far, which is nice to kind of see. I've got a couple of entries on here that I'm waiting to see if they're going to come to fruition, so I will watch and wait on that one. Nat gas, big bullish update today. I'm looking for higher prices on nat gas, but they've been trading sideways for the past 2 weeks, so nothing to talk about there. I want to see them come in, scoop up these lows here, and then reject and go higher. If we do see that, we could be able to capture some longs there. Sorry, I'm running through these pretty quick here. I don't want to make today about commodities because it's late in the week, and I want to do that analysis first, so I'm just kind of doing a real quick rundown. Bitcoin and these cryptos, nothing to talk about here. Slowly coming back up. That wasn't Bitcoin, sorry, crypto. Ripple and Litecoin. Yeah, it's all pretty much same. Litecoin's been trapped in sideways price action for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days now, and nothing to talk about. They're going to run these lows eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So I'm going to be waiting for that to happen. I think there's a little bit more strength in Ripple though, as opposed to Litecoin. They've come in and they've scooped these lows early on, so we may not see as much of a pullback, which could be underlying strength. And you see this big gap in here. That'd be my first target on those guys. So I talked about that before, but that's kind of what I was looking for. Ethereum has shown a little bit more strength, but they're just coming back up. I think this area up in here is going to offer some resistance, and I'm expecting them to drop price further back down to these levels down here. And then that's the exact same with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I think low here is going to get ran, low here, and these lows definitely going to get run here. I don't know why I got that trend line there. So we'll see. They're just basically softly bringing this thing back up, and I would expect this level in here to offer some resistance. Basically where I've got this blue line, or this blue shaded area here, I think that'll probably offer some resistance. We'll probably see prices come up, bounce, and then trade lower. But it could do this for the next 2-3 weeks indefinitely, who knows. And that's sort of what I want to talk about today. So we'll see where today ends off. I'm expecting them to come down into here. It would kind of piss me off, to be honest with you, if they just left it like this. Equal low right here. It wouldn't piss me off. I mean, I would expect them to close that little gap in there. Run back down 9,300 big figure, and then reject it. But they could certainly reject it from here as well, too. So if they did that, then this trade would be no bueno. And this would be why the pound dollar is starting to skate. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. Lows in here. I don't know where they'd be targeting on this lower. They came down and scooped liquidity, so I would be expecting them to push a bit higher still. But so far they're not giving us that. So we could see this move down further yet. just coming into the open actually on Wednesday, trading, basically tagged off of it there. Maybe this area in here might offer, the low of this area in here, in the shaded area, that might offer some support in there. And if they go lower than this shaded box in here, which instead of just telling me the shaded box, I could probably put a price tag on here. If they go lower than 133.55, we could see this want to get back down under the lows that it created on Tuesday, and maybe even back to Monday. So just keep that one in mind if that's the case. And that's if we see a further expansion on Euro GBP, we could see that come to fruition here, because they're obviously manipulating the pound. They're consolidating the euro, and they're running the pound right now. So that could be their goal, but just keep that in mind. But I'm not going to trade this, because I mean, who would have predicted that? They came in and smashed price. I mean, yeah, you could have went in and said, yeah, maybe the very low of this one up candle here offered some kind of resistance, and they came in. What was the high today? High came in at 134.72 on this feed, and the low on this candle came in at 132.73, so they missed it by 1 pip, and then they rejected. So I mean, you definitely could have traded, I guess, a measurable bounce in there off of that, but you don't always get that every time. So just kind of interesting. And price could have very well easily, let's say you went short there at 134.70, they could have easily jammed price up another 10-15 pips. So anyway, see what happens there. Starting to finally drop that lower. I'm going to drop down to an hourly on here. Yeah. I would expect this candle would have put in the high. So if they go higher than that... Oh, excuse me, guys. You want to get a drink here? So if they go higher than this guy in here... they may want to fill this small gap in here in price. But there's lots of area above price here that I think they could continue to reach for. We still haven't rebalanced off of here. So you see how price consolidated up here and then dropped very, very quickly. If they're going to continue dropping and go lower, they would typically rebalance back up and trade back into this area one more time and then fall over. They tried to do it here and failed. So I think that there's definitely going to be another attempt to go higher on this. But I don't think this is the low. I really would like to see them come down to here and just one more push lower here. But may not get it today. Price could just sit here and chop sideways for the rest of the day. So keep that in mind too. We may not get anything happening on this pair. And the same thing with this. May not get anything happening on this either. But I like how this is coming back down. If we do see some resistance in here, we'll see if this candle right here offers some support. I said resistance, sorry. If this candle here offers some support, we could look at getting long, and I'd like to see if we can get up into here. But keep in mind, I might be looking for this one as well, too, to get ran. So we'll watch for that. And that's about it, guys. Not much else that I'm seeing on the charts here that excites me. If you guys have any questions, throw them up. But yeah, there's really not a whole ton here that I'm excited about to talk about that I think is going to come to fruition. So, yeah. I think I might wrap up this session. I'd really like to see if the dollar would push lower here one more time, though. That would be nice. But, yeah. Anyway, I don't see any questions come in, so with that, Dave will be in tomorrow. He'll be talking S&P and gold again. I'll be back next week. I'm going to sit down and like I say, I want to do some analysis on some commodities and pick out a couple of new levels for some new commodities to trade and look what's coming up on the horizon. So we're going to be looking for that. And yeah, I would suggest you keep, especially this week, guys, like with this week's profile on the market, you know, I would definitely be very conservative with your trades. Reduce your risk by quite a bit. I'd say by at least half, and keep your targets small. Intraday trades, like I say, 30, 40, 50 pips max. I wouldn't be shooting for big 100 pip moves. If you are swing trading, wait for logical areas to be hit, obviously. But just kind of keep things tight for the rest of the week. We've only got one more day. Or, quit trading. Sit on your hands for the rest of the week. That could be advisable as well, too. Only because there's some nice retracements going on. Nice retracement here or nice push higher on S&P. Wednesday really broke out of this range here very convincingly. So Dave will be talking about that tomorrow, and gold as well too. Kind of been ugly trading on gold here. Not too much going on there, but anyway, thanks very much, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And for you members, I'll watch Euro here, and maybe if we see a push lower on that US dollar and this starts to run higher again, we can look at a trade there. So I'll post up a signal for everybody. But anyway, with that, have a great day. Thanks, guys. Dave will be back tomorrow at New York Open, and do some trading with you, and then I'll be back next week as well too. So have a great day.